Did you know there's hidden treasures lurking everywhere around us, waiting to be discovered? Well, we've gathered the most mind-blowing findings on Earth that will forever change what you believe is possible in our mysterious world. Deep in Kazakhstan, these hikers stumbled upon something truly extraordinary: the legendary Baikonur Cosmodrome with the massive Energia rocket still inside. This Soviet super heavy rocket, standing at an impressive 59 meters tall, was once one of the most powerful launch vehicles in the world, outperforming other operational rockets of its time. Inside the massive hangar with its gigantic door, designed to fit an entire rocket, you can also glimpse the famous Buran space shuttle, which completed just one unmanned orbital flight before being forever stored away in this slowly decaying technological time capsule. Imagine walking along a quiet shoreline only to discover an enormous abandoned cruise ship looming just meters from the beach. The Enchanted Capri, a massive 157-meter hotel ship with 248 rooms that once accommodated 937 passengers and 155 crew members, now sits abandoned after dragging its anchor during a violent storm near Alvarado. What makes this ghost ship truly fascinating is that, despite plans to scrap it in 2020, the ship remains eerily intact with furniture, spare parts, and even lifeboats still aboard. While its once coast of Hokkaido, there is a concrete military bunker that appears to be floating in midair. This former Japanese Army pillbox, built during the final days of World War II as a defense against the American invasion, measures approximately 5 meters wide and 6 meters deep. As coastal erosion gradually washed away the surrounding soil, this massive structure was left dramatically exposed on the cliff edge, creating the surreal illusion that it was suspended above the ground. Deep beneath the waters of Papua New Guinea lies a mysterious submarine that kept its secrets for over a century. The HMAS AE-1, Australia's first submarine and the Allied submarine loss of World War I, was finally discovered in 2017 after vanishing without a trace in 1914. Remarkably, the wreck was mapped in stunning detail using high-tech ROVs, revealing clues about its final moments and allowing researchers to create an intricate 3D model of this historical time capsule. In the depths of a frozen swamp, an official search team made a remarkable wartime discovery that has been preserved for decades. The wooden crates they recovered contained thousands of perfectly sealed World War II ammunition rounds, untouched by time beneath the ice. This historical find, while impressive, required careful handling by the team, who follow strict protocols ensuring potentially dangerous materials remain in the forest or are properly deactivated before being transferred to museums. In the crystal-clear waters off Croatia's coast was found a haunting reminder of World War II's final days. A mighty B-17 Flying Fortress bomber rests perfectly preserved 72 meters below the surface, forced to make a dramatic water landing when its last engine failed just short of safety. The most intriguing part of this underwater time capsule is that the crew managed to survive the landing, floating for 20 minutes before the massive aircraft finally slipped beneath the waves. Beneath layers of earth, a team of metal detectorists uncovered an ancient storage chamber sealed with an intricately patterned clay lid. Hidden inside this mysterious vault lay a spectacular collection of gold and silver jewelry alongside ancient coins, carefully preserved through the centuries. The elaborate nature of the hiding place and the valuable contents suggest this wasn't a simple storage site, but rather a deliberate concealed treasure trove meant to protect precious wealth during turbulent times. Somewhere in the depths of Washington State's forests, a dusty old barn holds an automotive treasure trove that would make any car collector's heart race. Inside this unassuming structure lies a stunning collection of classic American muscle cars from the 1960s and 70s, including rare Plymouth GTXs, Pontiac GTOs, and pristine Dodge Challengers. What makes this barn find truly exceptional is that many of these vehicles are limited editions with powerful V8 engines, making this forgotten collection potentially worth millions to the right buyers. After a proper restoration, of course. Off the Swedish coast, divers made an interesting discovery that's been perfectly preserved by the cold Baltic waters. A 19th century shipwreck yielded not only 100 bottles of vintage champagne, but also rare clay bottles of Selters mineral water, a beverage so precious it was once considered medicine and served at royal tables. The fact that the mineral water's producer, identified by marks on the clay bottles dating between 1850 to 1867, still operates today, creating a direct link to this luxurious cargo from the past. Right within ancient rock faces lies an extraordinary discovery that challenges our understanding of prehistoric human ingenuity. This remarkable 16,000-year-old dwelling, carved directly into solid rock, features multiple rooms and a dedicated fireplace area, all meticulously crafted using primitive tools. What's truly fascinating is how this ancient shelter has survived millennia, providing a rare glimpse into the sophisticated architectural capabilities of our distant ancestors. After 30 years of fossil hunting, this explorer struck gold with what he calls the best megalodon tooth site ever discovered. The untouched location yielded an incredible haul of 17 complete megalodon teeth in just 1 week, with some specimens barely requiring any digging to uncover. The abundance of historical bones scattered throughout the site serves as a telltale sign of these ancient marine predators, making this untouched territory a fossil hunter's dream come true. In the flooded Konstantinovsky coal quarry, these hikers found massive excavators slowly disappearing into rising groundwater that has reclaimed this once productive mining site. These colossal machines, including a 16-bucket rotary excavator weighing 4,100 tons and standing over 30 meters tall, once extracted more than 1 million tons of coal annually until operations ceased in 2010. The tragic fate of these industrial giants, now stripped of valuable copper and standing like skeletons above deep quarry waters, tells a larger story of changing political regimes and bankruptcy that transformed this engineering marvel into a mechanical graveyard. Deep in a silent forest lies a small abandoned chapel, discovered by a hiker during his nighttime woodland journey. This remarkable religious structure, built in the late 12th century, served as a place of worship for more than 600 years before being reclaimed by the surrounding wilderness. Since then, time has stripped away most of its original features, creating the unsettling feeling of someone watching you from the empty shadows. Along the Delaware River rests a haunting collection of abandoned vessels, a boat graveyard with loads of maritime history. And the most impressive among these nautical ghosts is the U.S. lightship Barnegat, a 129-foot floating lighthouse built in 1904 at Camden's New York shipyard and used by the United States Coast Guard to guide ships away from dangerous shallow waters. This century-old vessel, now listed among the 10 most endangered historical places, served a second life during World War II, patrolling coastlines teeming with German submarines before being retired in 1967, one of the few surviving ships of its kind. Venture into what explorers thought would be just another cave system, only to discover the largest underground chamber ever discovered. The cavern's coastal scale is truly shocking. Smooth rock walls with ceiling heights reaching over 30 meters. It's so large that even 2 of the world's brightest flashlights couldn't fully illuminate it. and the bottoms of underwater pools disappeared into darkness. Moreover, the chamber's perfect acoustics create huge echoes. Hidden away in an abandoned missile silo lies a bizarre discovery that would have once been worth a fortune. Historians exploring old Soviet military installations stumbled upon billions of Soviet-era rubles stuffed into an underground chamber. While these banknotes are now worthless as currency, they create an eerie monument to the collapse of an empire, likely disposed of in the early 1990s when they became obsolete. In the middle of Death Valley, botanists searching for rare plants stumbled upon a long-lost piece of Cold War history. The discovered wreckage was identified as a Grumman HU-16 Albatross, a CIA aircraft that crashed in January 1952 during a classified mission from Idaho to San Diego. What makes this find particularly interesting is that while all 6 crew members miraculously survived by parachuting to safety, the aircraft's remains lay hidden in the Panamint Mountains for over 68 years before being rediscovered. Hidden beneath hours of overgrown wilderness and an abandoned airfield, these people found a forgotten graveyard of Soviet-era aircraft. The site contains the stripped remnants of various aircraft, including AN-2s, Mi-2 helicopters, Yak-52s, and Yak-18As. Their bare frames telling silent stories of their flying days. Now this discovery has been slowly reclaimed by nature, with vegetation growing through and around these abandoned flying machines. In the harsh Alaskan wilderness found a monument to failed ambition, the legendary Last Train to Nowhere. This abandoned railroad equipment, including 3 locomotives and 19 cars, has been slowly rusting since 1913 when a devastating storm destroyed the Solomon River Bridge, permanently stranding them 40 kilometers outside Nome. These trains never made a single journey on their intended 215-kilometer route from Dixon to the County City mines as the railroad company went bankrupt in 1907. Leaving them frozen in time as silent sentinels of Alaska's gold rush era. In the middle of Ukraine's Kharkiv region lies a surreal sight, dozens of abandoned aircraft scattered across an empty field. This forgotten airfield, once a bustling training facility, now holds over 30 aircraft including L-29 jet trainers, Mi-2 and Mi-8 helicopters, and AN-2 planes, many still containing fuel in their tanks from when they were abandoned in the 1990s. Time and scavengers have taken their toll on these once proud machines, but they remain as bygone eras of aviation training. How about encountering a whole passenger aircraft not in the sky, but deep beneath the waves of the Red Sea? This eerie Lockheed Martin L-1011 Tristar, with its distinctive 3 engines mounted on wings and tail fin, was deliberately sunk in 2019 to create an artificial reef at depths ranging from 15 to 28 meters. Once serving airlines like Royal Jordanian in the 1980s before being abandoned at the King Hussein International Airport, this underwater giant has now become a haven for wreck explorers and a thriving ecosystem for marine life. In the murky depths of the English Channel, it has become possible to retrieve the wreck of MV Tricolor, a massive 50,000-ton Norwegian vehicle carrier that sank with nearly 3,000 automobiles on board after a collision in 2002. This ill-fated vessel, which became notorious for being involved in 3 separate collisions within just 2 weeks, now rests on its side in 30 meters of water off the French coast. Salvage teams face the extraordinary challenge of recovering thousands of vehicles from this underwater car cemetery, making this one of the most unusual and complex maritime recoveries in European waters. Within an American forest, this man found a graveyard of forgotten military might. a collection of M60 Patton tanks that once served as the workhorse of the U.S. Army for 2 decades. These 750 horsepower behemoths, capable of reaching speeds of 48 kilometers per hour on roads with a range of 480 kilometers, are now perfectly lined up in their final resting place. Alongside them rest 14 stripped M113 armored personnel carriers that once transported up to 15 passengers each at speeds of 68 kilometers per hour, creating an eerie military museum slowly being reclaimed by nature. At the ancient site of Baalbek in Lebanon, a marvel was discovered that challenges our understanding of human history. Enormous megalithic stones weighing up to 1,200 tons each. Despite being misattributed to Romans, the precision-cut limestone blocks show evidence of sophisticated tool marks and construction techniques far beyond the capabilities of ancient civilizations. The quarry still contains what might be the largest stone block ever cut in human history, leaving experts to theorize about a lost ancient civilization with high technology that predates the Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians by thousands of years. While building a highway through Chile's Atacama Desert, workers made an astonishing discovery. More than 40 complete whale skeletons preserved in what is now one of the driest places on Earth. Among these massive fossils, paleontologists identified blue whales, finback whales, and even an extinct dolphin-like creature with walrus characteristics, all perfectly preserved in the desert sand. Scientists determined these marine giants died after consuming toxic algae. Their bodies later washed ashore by a powerful storm before the region transformed from seafloor to desert over millions of years. Discovered in the granite outcroppings near South Africa, this perfectly preserved, footprint-shaped formation measures an incredible 1.2 meters from heel to toe. This vertical impression in solid granite has sparked fantastic theories that a giant standing 7 to 7.5 meters tall once walked through molten rock some 200 million years ago. Although geologists identify this as a natural weathering formation surrounded by similar erosion patterns, could this actually be evidence of ancient giants? Or is it simply nature's artwork? Tell us what you think in the comments below. In the forests near British Columbia, hikers found not mushrooms, but a remarkable piece of aviation history. A World War II Canso aircraft perched on the side of Radar Hill. This Catalina flying boat, one of the most widely used seaplanes during the war, made an emergency landing and now rests partially intact. And you can go see it, if you're up for a treacherous hike through knee-deep mud. What makes this site particularly interesting are the small ponds surrounding the wreckage, which weren't formed naturally, but were created when explosives were detonated after the plane crashed. Imagine the shock of Vietnamese gardeners who, while simply tending to their vegetables, struck something metallic buried deep beneath their property. What they initially hoped might be buried treasure turned out to be a massive unexploded bomb weighing over 1 ton and measuring 2.5 meters in length, buried just 2 meters below their home. Military specialists were immediately called to evacuate the enormous piece of ammunition, leaving the family unharmed despite living right above the war relic for decades without knowing it. In Egypt's vast Al-Wadi Al-Jadid desert, an oil survey team stumbled upon an incredibly preserved World War II Curtiss Kitty Hawk fighter plane, untouched by anything but sand and sun since 1942. The aircraft, identified as Kitty Hawk MKIA ET-574 from 260 Squadron RAF, disappeared during a ferry flight with Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping at the controls, who was last seen flying off course with damaged landing gear. What makes this find special is that the plane had been perfectly preserved in the desert for decades, remaining a memorial to a fallen pilot who was never seen again. During a mushroom hunting expedition in a Moscow